And right now, I feel like everybody is arguing about a sliver of the pie, right? Like, say my pronoun right. Rich versus non-rich, black versus white, liberal versus Republican. It's just a versus, right? Like versus battle all the time. And I feel like the blue ocean is human. Like nobody is trailblazing human right now. And because of it, I feel like as humanity, we're all losing. And so that's just for me right now, just like the soapbox that I'm on is human. And so I just start with human first because it's a blue ocean. And hopefully, if I continue to say this thing over and over and over and speak life into human, maybe more people go that pathway and there's cats that choose human first. And so that just feels like my mission right now.
Yeah, and for context, what a blue ocean is it's a, take a business industry, let's say tires, for example, and or in this case, Mondo saying, using the reference of people, and you have your industry, you have your industry leaders, and you basically take that industry and do something entirely different and making yourself or making that business entity, or as Mondo's saying, prioritizing humans in a way that's different than the entire industry. So that way, you're creating your own set of customers and you're disrupting that industry. And now you become the industry leader. So I guess what Mondo's trying to say is if we put people first and get to that, get to, stop using labels, of people, put people first, we'll be better off, and we will then become the majority or that mindset will become the majority. So
yeah, but when I visualize that, that's like you screaming that when somebody has their foot on your neck. I'm human. We're all human. So I say that meaning like that shit comes from the top down. Like it's all strategic, right? So like when you say that you want us all to realize we're human, who are you preaching that to?
Oh, to everybody.
But how often are you preaching that to people in power? Because us on the bottom, we understand that. We're trying to get them to realize we are the same.
So are we saying that, again, so this goes to our race conversation. I think this is a good segue. So are we saying, you use George Floyd, right? Like the police officers, are we saying that is the power? Right? Because it's not about yelling at police. That's still a middle person.
I'm just saying, just as far as like being suppressed, like it could be rich, poor, it doesn't matter. Just the people who have more ultimately end up having more power. So like, I just want to know, like, are you speaking more to the powers that be, the people who have more control over society, marketing, everything that we see? Yeah.
I got you. So let's go imagination. Okay. Like we get what's happening in the world. We see the stuff, we see who's in power and all the stuff. So then I take what I see, and then I take what I see in reality, and then I take what I see in story form in somebody's imagination. And the story that shows up for me a lot is Star Wars. And so in Star Wars, there is the Empire, right? The Empire has all the stuff. And then there are Jedi. And like Jedi are few. However, for some reason, the world works for the Jedi, right? The Force surrounds the Jedi. Well, how do you become one with the Force? Well, first, you have to make an agreement that I'm one with human, right? If you're arguing about not being one with human, then you definitely can't be one with everything if you can't even be one with human. And so through my imagination, I challenge people to consider, is there a certain unique invisible gift that is actually truly present if we choose to be one with all things? Right? Like what if? And so if that is the case, then the people at the top that continue to suppress others will eventually be left if all the people in the middle are like, we're going to choose to be human, and like because they do it somehow, some way, God, force, universe, consciousness, all the things just works. And so that's just my imagination saying like, what if? Like, and it takes for somebody else to be like, yeah, Mondo, I don't know, but what if? And if that can be true, let me try it. And so it's literally just that, right? It's literally Martin Luther King, I have a dream that one day. And so I'm like, what if one day? And it just starts with us changing our minds and not participating in this separatist mindset. Because if we continue to do that, we see what happens, right? Black, white turns into liberal, Republican, turns into, well, what about LGBTQ? Well, what about my pronouns? What about, and it just keeps getting, now we're like, Max a dog. Like it just keeps.
No, nigga, hey. Torian,
yeah.
You got Mondo. You got Mondo today. All right.
I just had to. But no, but really, it just keeps on cutting the pie over and over and over. And it's just like, yo, eventually, right? Like, it gets to be kind of ridiculous. I get identity. I get identity, right? Like, know who you are. You might have 73 different labels that you use to identify yourself. That's cool. But it ain't my responsibility to master all the labels that you call yourself. Like, that's how I feel. Like, you, dope. I am me. But together, if we're like, oh, as long as you're a confident person in who you are, and I'm a confident person in who I am, well, we are good together.
But right? What if you ain't confident though? Like they trying to strip that from you, dehumanize you, and you know the plan, they're divide and conquer.
But whose responsibility is it to be confident? You cannot blame anybody else and be like, hey, they control my mind and they don't allow me to be confident.
No, that ain't. I disagree. Okay. Man. Different circumstances, different ways you're raised. I mean, like take the movie Precious, for example, man. Mm-hmm. Her mama beat the fuck out of her and her daddy raped her. How the fuck is she supposed to be confident? Like, yeah, it's her responsibility it's her responsibility because it's her confidence, but like, man, like niggas be going through real shit. So it's not just as easy as saying like, oh, it's nobody's responsibility but theirs to be confident. Like,
it's tough, bro.
Hold on. Oh, go ahead. Let me respond to that.